chapter number 2, which is individual behavior. In this chapter today, we are going to start with a new topic. Now, whenever we talk about an individual behavior in an organization, then motivation is a very important factor we need to talk about. People in organizations are either motivated or demotivated, and they will achieve their goals if they are motivated and will not achieve their goals if they are not motivated. So, we will be studying few aspects about motivation today. In that, we will be talking about the meaning of motivation, elements of motivation, importance of motivation, and types of motivation. So first of all, let us understand what does motivation mean. Now, as such, motivation is a common word and you all must be aware about this word, but still when we understand the word in depth, we can understand motivation in a better manner. So what is motivation? Motivation can be defined as stimulating someone to take a desired course of action. That means that you do something so that a person does an action which you want that person to do. Motivation actually accounts for the intensity, the direction and persistence of a person in an organization. Through motivation, the abilities of a person is converted into performance. Actually, motivation is a psychological phenomenon which helps a person to convert these abilities into a performance. Because if a person has abilities or capabilities but the person doesn't do anything or doesn't perform, then it is not going to give any results. So in order to get the desired goals, one needs to work and one needs to show in the performance. Now, motivation generally applies to desires of people, needs, wants or drives. So what drives a person will decide how that person will be motivated. Motivation is actually a psychological force. When certain thing is done to a person, the person is stimulated psychologically and will work in a desired direction or will take a course of action so that the goals are achieved. Now, one very important thing which we need to understand is that generally people think that there are some people who are motivated and there are some people who are not motivated. But that is not the case. Motivation actually happens in interaction with the environment or the situation. So motivation is the response of a human being with one's situation or an environment. So given a situation, one person will be motivated and the other may not be motivated. So we can say that motivation is a driving force for a person to perform and achieve certain goals. And when a person is motivated, then the person is always very enthusiastic and works with an interest. So now our next topic is the elements of motivation. So there are three elements of motivation: intensity, direction and persistence. Now what is this intensity, direction and persistence? And what do these three elements signify? Now all these three elements talk about how an individual works. So we know that motivation brings in intensity, direction and persistence. Now intensity talks about the amount of hard work that a person puts into his or her own work, while the direction talks about the focus of the person to achieve a certain goal. So the person will always work in a direction which takes him or her nearer to the goal. And persistence talks about never give up attitude. Now in the course of action to achieve certain goals, people are bound to experience obstacles. But those who keep on moving ahead rather than stopping when they encounter obstacles, then they can achieve goal. So that is called persistence. Even in the face of obstacles, one person keeps on working until that person achieves the goal. So motivation brings in these three things which are very, very important to achieve goals, and that is the intensity of work, the direction of work, and persistence. So let us see now the next topic, which is importance of motivation. So here we will see that what does motivation do? If a person is motivated, then what will happen? What will be the result? So whenever a person is motivated or whenever there is a motivational environment, then the person will work with zeal, initiative, enthusiasm and interest. If a person is demotivated, then you will see that the person will feel very dull and will work without any interest. Also, when there is motivation, employees feel a sense of responsibility and discipline. Each task that they are given, they find themselves responsible for the success or failure of that task. And they also come into discipline because they are highly motivated to achieve the goal. With the sense of responsibility and discipline and with a lot of enthusiasm, it is very obvious that there will be loyalty towards work and organization. When a person is highly motivated at workplace, the person will work with complete loyalty and will have a loyalty towards organization and will not think about leaving the organization. Also, due to motivation, the work environment becomes very, very positive. Even organizational goals are achieved along with the personal goals, and people, rather than focusing on problems, will start focusing on solutions. Goals are achieved in terms of value and time. That means higher values and qualities are achieved and at lesser time. Motivated people are always forward looking, and that is why they help the organization to achieve their vision. So this is how motivation is very important in the organization. It brings in a positive environment and people are very enthusiastic to put in their 100% to do their work. Managers need to do certain things so that employees or their subordinates gets motivated to work. So to understand how a human being is motivated or how each and every person is motivated, like I said earlier, every person may be motivated differently. So to find out how to motivate employees, first let us understand what are the different types of motivation. Now there are two types of motivations, intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Now what is the meaning of intrinsic motivation? So intrinsic motivation is something which deals with within, which comes from inside the human being. So the tasks which are related to enjoyment, purpose, growth, curiosity, passion, self-expression, fun, belonging and autonomy. All these tasks motivate people who are motivated by the intrinsic type of motivation. Now what are these things? For example, enjoyment. So a person will be motivated when that person enjoys the work. That means that the motivational factor is the work itself. For example, if a person likes to do a lot of coding, then all kinds of coding work will motivate that person. But the other types of work which are administrative will not motivate that person. Second point is purpose. Some people are motivated when there is purpose behind doing a task. So if you explain the purpose of that task or if there is some purpose behind anything, then that person will work with interest and enthusiasm. When a person sees a growth or finds out that after doing this task, I am going to do something new, I am going to learn something new, which satisfies his or her curiosity, then that person will be motivated to do that task. Again, people are highly motivated to do something for which they are passionate about it. Now the word passion itself says, that when a person is passionate, then definitely the person will be motivated. So that is why many times people say that it is always good to take up such kind of work which is your own passion. Then every single day you will not have to work, you will just enjoy. Some people are motivated because through that task they get self-expression. That means that whatever is their ability, they are able to utilize their ability and they feel that they are best expressed doing that task. So that is why they are motivated. Sometimes people do tasks which are fun-filled and that is why they will be motivated only to do the fun-filled tasks. Tasks which are very, very dull, which is administrative, which includes a lot of documentation, will not motivate such kinds of people. Also, many people seek belonging. If a person feels that that person belongs to an organization or feels one's own worth for the organization, then the person will be motivated. Because that person thinks that whatever he or she contributes to the organization is important for the growth of the organization. And lastly, people also seek autonomy. Autonomy means being free or independent in doing the work. So many people are motivated if they are not supervised. They want to do their work on their own. And when they are given this autonomy, they work with high motivation. So all of these are the intrinsic types of motivations. Now what are extrinsic motivation? Extrinsic motivation means those things which are given from outside. So when people believe that they will be able to perform well only if they are given some rewards, then only they will be motivated. So things like promotions, pay rises, some benefits like giving some credit cards or maybe paying the school fees or giving some allowances for travel or some recognitions and awards. All these things will motivate people who have the extrinsic type of motivation. So these are the two types of motivations, and if a manager is able to identify which type of motivation will motivate an employee, then the manager will be able to take out more work and in a better manner. This is going to add value not only to the organization but also to the person or the employee. Now motivation can also be positive and negative. What does this mean? Positive motivation means people will work so that after their work is achieved, they will get something. That can be either intrinsic or extrinsic. For example, if a certain task is accomplished, then either the person will have intrinsic reward or an extrinsic reward in terms of self-satisfaction, self-expression, joy, fulfillment, or an extrinsic reward that can be promotion or a pay rise or anything. But negative motivation means that if the person doesn't do a task, then something will be taken away from that person. That means that it is the fear of loss or because of some threat from the management, the person will have to work. So this is how even there are positive motivation and negative motivation. Organizations which have positive motivation, the managers of such organizations are themselves very positive and they are true leaders. But organizations where negative motivation is used, the managers are authoritative, they show their power over others and they kind of control everyone by supervising them. So again, these are the two ways of motivating. One is positive motivation and another is negative motivation. So I hope you have understood whatever we have discussed today about motivation. We will talk more about motivation in our next video. Thank you.